So our Colombian referee, Wilmer Roldan, gets us underway tonight. The Maracanã officially reborn for the third time since its initial construction ahead of the 1950 World Cup. The only previous time that this nation that is so often in quips credited with perfecting the game that England invented has hosted the World's Festival of Football. But tonight starts the countdown to when the tournament returns to its spiritual home south of the equator. In 375 days' time, the 20th World Cup will be upon us. Brazil is confident it will be ready. England in their newly issued away strip. Of course, there was a lot of talk over their new home kit, which bears a stern resemblance to the German kit of the 1966 World Cup, with a bit of black trim around the collar. The famous white shirt. Brazil, of course, in their extremely traditional yellow and blue kit change, which came about as a direct result of losing the 1950 World Cup final match against Uruguay in this stadium. It was such a shock to the system that they dispensed with their white shirt and brought in the yellow of the Seleção. 63 years later, up against England here in an examination really for both sides. Both teams certainly aware of the occasion and the importance in terms of their on-the-field preparations, Ian.
Oh, great early pressure from England, as you mentioned. It's great to see them playing in the fantastic red shirts. The new jerseys are all set and ready for the World Cup, but they still got to get there, and preparation like this speaks high volumes for the squad and the players. Roy Hodgson, no doubt under a lot of pressure after the midweek 1-1 draw against Republic of Ireland. A lot of criticism, of course, always comes from the media. The talking always going to happen on the field. England have got quality out there, and today they can make a big difference and make a big shout with a good performance.
Well, first shot fired in anger. Charged down by that England defence, which does have a new component tonight from that 1-1 draw against the Republic of Ireland. The left-back Leighton Baines starting in place of Ashley Cole. Cole, who got his 102nd cap against the Irish and earned the captain's armband as a way to commemorate reaching 100 caps. It was a game in which, of course, England suffered from a lot of bad headlines afterwards. Had a number of chances in the second half to get the better of Ireland, but really that striking impotence has shown itself. Roy Hodgson does not have many options available to him at all. You can see with those players from midfield trying to get forward in support of Wayne Rooney tonight. Without a natural strike partner on the field, they might find it quite tough going.
Well, we still must not forget that they have that quality with Rooney being that striker up front there. The speed that's on the wings is also very impressive, with Walcott on one side and Milner breaking forward. But the fullbacks can play a big part, as we already know. Johnson loves to get forward.
Lampard's cross. It's headed out by Thiago Silva. Very familiar looking back four, back five, in fact, for Brazil, including goalkeeper Julio Cesar to our English fans. The QPR stopper, whose future next season still to be determined. Of course, there are some club foes coming up against each other here. David Luiz on the ball. He's got Oscar in that midfield for Brazil, coming up against Cahill and Frank Lampard.
Well, it sets for a perfect match when you look at the quality from both sides, in particular Brazil. Absolutely fantastic lineup, and we've seen a lot of changes from Scolari throughout the friendly, the Brazil tour all across the world. But this is a tremendous lineup. You've got to look at the striking force and the power they've got going forward, especially speed.
Hulk is looking for Fred in the area. Oscar took over, and there's the opening chance. Neymar with the scissor attempt. But in good form for the Brazilian national team, of course, as well as his club Santos, his former club now, of course. We understand that the youngster will be unveiled tomorrow in front of an adoring public Something you can witness here, live and exclusively on beIN Sport. After his big €30 million move from Brazil to Europe. And we look forward, of course, to next season already, even though this season has just drawn to a close. Neymar's potential partnership with Leo Messi. There he goes again.
Well, he's a tricky player, there's no doubt about that. Barcelona will be looking forward to having him amongst their ranks, but England just very slow to close down. Can't allow a player of that skill and quality that much space to get his strike away. It's a wayward strike from Neymar in the end. Oh, what a beautiful stadium we're seeing here. Incredible scenes. And if anything, it just excites you more for the World Cup.
It's been renovated now 3 times in this century. Extraordinary. There was a lot of criticism for some of the moves that had to be made. The museum that paid homage to the native population had to be taken away in order to make room for the new stadium expansion. And of course, we mentioned it is severely late in terms of being available. This friendly was actually pinpointed over a year ago, though. It was announced in September that England would be coming here as what they hoped would be preparations for their World Cup trip next June. Of course, there's still a lot of work still to be done, but in this 150th anniversary of the FA, England and Brazil renewing their rivalry. It is 29 years since England last played here. Very memorable occasion it was as well. England getting a 2-0 win. Thanks to goals from John Barnes and Mark Heatley. Here's Dani Alves. Jagielka's header away. It's all Brazil in the opening passages of play. Glenn Johnson, a nice turn away from Oscar. And a very fervent crowd trying to put as much pressure on the visitors as possible.
Well, the Brazil team so far is following suit. A lot of high pressure as soon as England get possession of the ball. If there's a chance for Brazil to try and win it, the immediate pressure there is high pressure. Closing down England, not allowing them too much time on the ball.
It's really a neutral game venue for this in terms of Brazil not having played here in an awfully long time. The stadium has been under reconstruction for the last 3 years. This is the 30th official friendly that Brazil have taken part in since the World Cup finals of 2010. Theo Walcott up against Felipe Luis, the Atletico Madrid left back. The Arsenal man's pass is picked off by Oscar. Brazil driving forward. Width provided again by Alves. Stabbed away by Phil Jagielka. England were vulnerable from the right-hand side against the Irish on Wednesday night. The Irish goal coming from a cross from that area, where Brazil have currently won themselves a free kick.
Well, it's a dangerous free kick to give away, dangerous position, but England getting a mass amount of bodies back behind the ball. They're not allowing Brazil to get those crosses in from wide positions. But already we're starting to see the breakaway opportunities. There's the foul from Michael Carrick. No doubt it's a late one on Oscar. What a season Oscar's had.
Well, they've got plenty of striking options up there with the presence of Hulk, Fred and Neymar. And Hulk, the Zenit St. Petersburg man, having a word in the ear of Neymar about how exactly they provide a test to Joe Hart here. Lined up a wall. 3-man wall. Got the better of that, but not the goalkeeper's gloves.
Oh, very good from Joe Hart. It's not a bad strike whatsoever. Over the top of the wall from Neymar, on frame, but nowhere near close enough to the corners away from Joe Hart. Comfortable save in the end. It really is a big test for England. They've been under a lot of pressure, especially in World Cup qualifiers. It wasn't a great result that they have produced in the last game. With obviously big matches coming up ahead of them, preparation is always important, and Roy Hodgson finding it very difficult to keep his players healthy at the moment.
I mentioned doing without Daniel Sturridge on his first start. So unfortunate to go off injured with that ankle problem after setting up the goal. Turned a draw for England from Frank Lampard. Doing without Danny Welbeck, we also mentioned, as well as Andy Carroll, who dropped out of the squad ahead of these two games with a heel injury. He's expected to be out for 3 or 4 months. Jermaine Defoe is currently nursing an Achilles problem. He is on the bench tonight, though. Oscar for Neymar, trying to sidestep Lampard and bring Dani Alves into play. That's been given as another Brazil free kick, a foul by James Milner.
It's very unfortunate. James Milner just trying to close down Dani Alves. A little bit over-aggressive. He's got to make contact with the ball. If he's going to go to ground on the challenge, you have to make touch on the ball. Misses the ball completely, and the referee gives yet another free kick in another dangerous position for Brazil.
Looking for the danger man, Fred, as well. 10 goals in 22 appearances. Thiago Silva, just the 1 goal for his country so far. And that's no test whatsoever for Joe Hart. Overcooked by the youngster.
He'll be under a lot of pressure, there's no doubt about that. Once you make the initial announcement, you're moving on away from Brazil, away from the domestic league, into the big lights in the bright city of Barcelona. That pressure and media scrutiny will certainly come immediately. And he'll want to perform today. It's another great occasion for him personally.
Well, Brazil do have some competitions to get used to now. The next couple of weeks they've been crying out for some competitive football. The last real competition that they took part in, can count the Olympics for the under-23s. There are 5 members of this squad who took part in that silver medal winning effort against Mexico in the final. A lot of disappointment as Brazil were trying to win the one competition that they've never won. Prior to that, you have to go back to the Copa America of 2011 to find the last real competition that Brazil's senior team took part in. They only made it as far as the quarter-finals, being eliminated by Paraguay on penalties. They were the defending champions, 2-time defending champions. A lot of chopping and changing, of course. Moving away from their coach Dunga after the World Cup, where again they lost out at the quarter-final stage to the Netherlands. And had a period with Mano Menezes in charge. He was dismissed in November to make way for the return of the heralded Luis Felipe Scolari. There he is, 64 years young. 15 months younger to the day than his opposite number today, Roy Hodgson. Two of them, in fact, came face-to-face while Scolari didn't exactly enjoy his 7.5 months in the English Premier League 4 years ago, in charge of Chelsea. Roy Hodgson was then manager of Fulham, and he played out a 2-2 draw at Craven Cottage in the West London derby. Clint Dempsey getting a couple of goals for Fulham that day. Frank Lampard got both for Chelsea. Here is Lampard. "15 minutes of cat and mouse. England certainly the mouse."
At this moment in time, formation-wise and tactically, you've got to give credit to Roy Hodgson's side. Defensively, they're very organised. making it very, very frustrating for Brazil to break them down. Very difficult. The training ground work is starting to pay a big price. Brazil are being frustrated at the moment. After that Republic of Ireland game, there was always going to be a lot of criticism, as there always is on the English national team, especially from the media. Roy Hodgson has a very, very tough job at hand, but he's got a great number of quality players within his squad who can produce quality. And today's another test for them. We'll see a lot more from England going forward.
Well, Brazil have only won one of their last 7 competitive internationals. It was a 4-0 thumping of Bolivia back at the start of April. Neymar got 2 that day. He also scored in that recent friendly that I mentioned at the top of the broadcast against Chile. Here he is, faced by Glenn Johnson. Johnson just giving him a little shove to let him know he's in a game. Alves, though. Brazilian strike, if ever there was one.
Well, that's where the opportunity is going to come from for Brazil. If they can't break through this England defence that's very strong right now, the chances and opportunities are going to have to come from long range. Not a bad strike from Dani Alves. Nothing to worry about for Joe Hart.
Rooney's header beautifully trading off and into the path. Well, no joy, no foul on Theo Walcott. Just a slight glimmer of an opening for England. Alves' pass forward is cut out.
That's disappointing from England. Breakaway opportunities, a 2v2 situation. Walcott and Rooney just failing to link up well. Walcott's got a great deal of pace that he can exploit this Brazilian defence with. But at the moment in time, the passes are just not coming off for England, especially in the final third.
Luis Gustavo in that central midfield role, alongside his similarly Brazilian-based Paulinho. Alves seeing plenty of the ball. He's picked out Neymar, who's picked out an opening. Joe Hart smothering the effort. Neymar couldn't make absolutely sure, but certainly he escaped England there with a deftness that they couldn't live with.
Well, it's a wonderful opportunity, but if you have a look at Glenn Johnson, he's just ball watching. He allows Neymar to make the run away. He's in an onside position. It's a wonderfully timed run. The first touch is excellent, but Glenn Johnson just mistimes the bounce of the ball. But full credit to Joe Hart. Cat reflex off his line in a heartbeat, and that is a wonderful save from the England #1.
Well, Glenn Johnson was the man who, maybe harshly to say this, but allowed Shane Long across him in order for the Republic of Ireland to open the score in midweek.
Well, it's almost as if he mistimed the bounce of the ball, and at this moment in time, from what I'm seeing, it looks like it's very long grass on the field, and the ball is just rolling very slow. It's not bouncing as high of a spring as we normally see. I just wonder if that's going to come into play as to mistakes happening defensively.
Well, that ball coming from Oscar off Leighton Baines, who's just holding his left midriff there, his hip perhaps, giving him some discomfort. Getting his starting chance tonight in place of Ashley Cole. 20 minutes almost on the clock. Four in and around the penalty area for Brazil. Flicked on at that near post. A mistake from Jagielka. It's allowing Thiago Silva to turn and get a shot in. Centre-back against centre-back.
Well, again, defensively, it comes down to strength and awareness in your position. You can't afford to do that if you're Jagielka. 50-50 challenges like that, the defender must win possession of that ball. Wonderful skill from Thiago Silva to get the strike away. Not a good enough opportunity to really test Joe Hart. There's a great deal of expectancy around this Brazilian squad, and we've seen the talent that's in the first 11 today. It's quite outstanding.
England are currently on a 4-game unbeaten run, starting with that 2-1 win over Brazil in Scolari's first game in charge in February at Wembley. One loss in the last 10 games since the European Championships exit to Italy in Kiev last June for England. That defeat coming in a 4-2 loss in November in Stockholm to Sweden, the Zlatan Ibrahimovic show. And the big disappointment for the English national team, of course, surrounds the state of the World Cup qualification campaign right now. In second place in Group H, 2 points behind Montenegro. England have suffered 3 consecutive 1-1 draws in World Cup qualifying, that they've put their ticket for next summer's tournament at risk. Drawing against Ukraine at Wembley back in September, then the October draw in Warsaw against Poland, followed by a draw back in the spring in Montenegro itself. Firm examination here, Neymar! Nice to see exactly how close he came.
Well, it's Michael Carrick. He gets turned inside out by the quality and the skill. Look at the close control from Neymar, and it's a wonderful strike. He's aiming for that far upper corner. Great strike on the ball, and he's not far away whatsoever. Joe Hart was really scrambling across this line to get there. Great skill. There's just a sign of what's to come for Barcelona fans. An absolutely excellent talent.
3 goals in his last 2 internationals. Get involved with us in the debate on Twitter, our handle at @BeinSportUSA. Also check out our website, stocked full of goodies for you. Midway point in the first half reached.
Well, Brazil are certainly dominating possession of the ball. Been very disappointing with some of the passing that's come from the defence players, especially David Luiz. In possession of the ball, he's given it away simply just out of play on 2 or 3 occasions. Simple pass, he's not concentrated enough, but once they get it into the final third, their movement off the ball is just incredible.
Here's Fred. Dani Alves. More great link play involving Neymar and Hulk. It's the man most likely, isn't he, Neymar? The man who's been already very critical of England's hopes, perhaps, of even participating deep into the tournament last World Cup, suggesting that they are perhaps not up to snuff.
I think even England fans can say the same thing. They're not happy with the national setup, and especially the way they have been performing since the last World Cup, even Euro Championships. England have got a lot of quality within their squad, within their ranks, a lot of great players to choose from. And that expectancy has always seemed to let us down a little bit. We expect a lot more from the quality that they've got on the field. But Brazil are no different. They're under a lot of pressure, and what we've seen already from the friendly games that they've played in preparation, simply not been good enough either.
Defensively, they've got to work on their game plan, doing enough to turn that ball away from Rooney temporarily. England enjoying a little bit of pressure around that penalty box. Back now with Gary Cahill. Well, it's not just, of course, criticism from afar that England are currently having to deal with. Some comments made by their former heroic striker Gary Lineker this week, suggesting that their game plan against the Republic of Ireland was a step backwards towards the Dark Ages, a formation that Roy Hodgson put out. Everyone entitled to their opinions. Certainly the England manager was very satisfied with the opportunities that the team created. In the same breath, of course, pointing to the fact that they are short of striking options right now. You can see Wayne Rooney, furthest player forward with that 5-man midfield. Brazil going long themselves here. Here's Oscar. Around the back, and Glenn Johnson, superb defending. Could have gone anywhere. It's not clear the danger. Neymar facing Johnson again, appeals for a handball. Speculative. And the shot eventually sent skyward by Paulinho. Milner looking for Rooney. And holding no bars, and certainly David Luiz knew that Rooney was on his back.
This is great defending from Glenn Johnson. Under a lot of pressure with two bodies right behind him. Simply as a defender, you don't know where to put the ball. It's running the risk of putting it in the back of your own net, and to clear the danger away from Neymar, who's sneaking in behind him. And it's top-class defending from Glenn Johnson.
Luiz's error has created this corner opportunity. Fred unchallenged as he headed clear. Lampard. Leighton Baines. It's a poor pass. Straight to Dani Alves. England trying to play offside. In fact, it's gone for a throw-in, so the play never made it that far.
Well, that's something that England cannot afford to do. In big games, big tournament games, we know it's a friendly right now, but you're playing against Brazil. You can't afford to give away possession of the ball easily. They've not done enough to get possession towards Wayne Rooney. And Walcott breaking forward. It's around the halfway line that they're starting to lose possession of the ball. It's through no fault but their own.
Michael Carrick under pressure from Neymar. Felipe Luis now feeding. Clever from Neymar, and a great run from Hulk. It's not clear. Felipe Luis trying to get a bite at it with Joe Hart. And it is a corner given to Brazil.
Well, again, we've already talked about the quality of Joe Hart, but have a look at this one. The first save is incredible. His reaction to get back on his feet and stop the second opportunity from Felipe Luis is even better. That one was very close because he doesn't make much contact with the ball. You have to run the risk of the referee, but quality goalkeeping once again from Joe Hart.
Well, Neymar rallying the fans in those newly decked out seats. Dani Alves again. Well, Joe Hart is the standout performer so far from an England perspective.
Well, top class again. And this one's bouncing just on the deck before he makes contact with the ball. And for any goalkeeper, it's always important that you keep the ball within your close range so you can actually get back up and control it. And no pressure whatsoever from Brazil going in on the second opportunity, and comfortable save from Joe Hart. Started the game very positively.
Walcott came off Lampard last.
Needs to be done a little bit quicker from Walcott. Once he gets in and around that area, the movement off the ball has to be there. Well, we already know the quality that Walcott has. He's using his pace and his determination to break through. He's got to move the ball a lot quicker.
Well, we still await the first official goal at this stadium. This isn't, in fact, the very first game to be played here since it was renovated. Back at the end of April, there was a practice game, exhibition match between the friends of the legends Ronaldo and the friends of the legend Bebeto. Former Brazilian international Washington had the distinction of getting the first goal in this stadium after its renovation. But this is an official friendly, and currently we're deadlocked as we approach the half hour, although Neymar has been serving notice to England and the watching world of his intention to become, obviously, one of Brazil's greats. Well on the way already at the age of 21, showing what he can do. Nicely tidied up by Dani Alves. And a very good start to the game as well. Luis Gustavo's ball has been allowed to reach Holtgate, who's fed it on now for Neymar. Danger again for England. Oscar. Still Oscar. Saved by Joe Hart. He's allowed to pick up his own rebound. And flag is up for offside.
Unfortunately, in the second attempt, if you have a look at the position Fred is in right now, he's in the offside position off the strike from Oscar. Another great save from Joe Hart. As soon as he makes that save, he pushes the ball away from the box so that the oncoming Fred doesn't get a second sniff at it. Great skill. England struggling at this moment in time to get close enough to shut down the opportunities. Leighton Baines this time. Looks like he's struggling with that injury, Leighton Baines.
Well, Leighton Baines is coming to the sideline for the game's first substitution. Ashley Cole, the man he replaced from the start, is back on. A little earlier than perhaps he would have imagined. But certainly as England have had to do a lot of defensive work, maybe Ashley Cole's introduction will give them a little bit more freedom down that left-hand side to use the ball when in possession.
Well, they certainly need to find a way breaking forward from the full-back positions.
It's Phil Jones looking to release Walcott. David Luiz had other ideas. Did well to get the better of the Manchester United man. Fred linking again. It's a little wayward. See the travelling English fans, their flags draped around the new perimeter of the stadium. They're obviously grateful that the game's gone ahead. The decision to suspend it only lasted 6 hours or so, as they were en route to the stadium earlier this week. It's Neymar. Fred calling for it. Neymar delaying. He's not afraid to try new things, is he? But in terms of generating power, it sometimes seems he wants to go more for placement.
It's just that quality that's been lacking from Neymar in the opening 32 minutes of the match. You must not forget he's got his two striking partners who are up alongside him with Hulk and Fred, waiting in the wings for those opportunities. Sometimes Neymar's going towards goal where he should be lifting up his head, using that vision and seeing what's around him.
Is that a maturity thing?
Absolutely. You know, he's trying to impress, and you can't blame the kid for doing that. He's an absolutely fantastic player. Obviously trying to celebrate his move to Barcelona in style today.
Paulinho's won that back for Oscar. And here's Hulk. And he can't test Joe Hart.
Well, this time it's an opportunity in reverse. If you look at Hulk with a strike, have a look at the position that Neymar finds himself completely open on the left-hand side, exposed. He is ready, waiting for the ball behind Glenn Johnson there. Not a good strike at all from Hulk. Almost seems as if it's a Brazilian way. Once they get into the final third, it's a little bit more of a selfish mentality to go towards goal. At this moment in time, the quality's just not been there.
Alves was given permission by Barcelona to join up with Brazil early for this game ahead of the Confederations Cup tournament. Missed their final game of the season against Malaga yesterday. Thiago Silva ending this season, of course, as a champion with Paris Saint-Germain. Rooney. There's a chance for England. It's worked out for Rooney. Coming back off Walcott. Wasn't intended, but Rooney's shot in the end charged down harmlessly.
Well, again, a great breakaway from England. And the speed is there for all to see from Theo Walcott. A better ball from Wayne Rooney, and he's in on goal.
Ashley Cole already giving a measure of what he wants to do. Come out and harass Brazil a little bit further up the field. But Brazil enjoying possession, still looking to build in England's half. They've got the free kick, foul by Phil Jones. Luis Gustavo just tripped. And as Lucas watches on. So got fantastic striking options on the bench too, Leandro Damião. Oscar going down theatrically under challenge from his Chelsea teammate Frank Lampard. The referee took a cold hard look at it. Brazil robbing England inside their own penalty area as well. Joe Hart has to come to the rescue once again.
In the centre of your picture right now, Phil Jones is struggling with an injury as well. At this moment in time, it's not looking good for Roy Hodgson's men. Under pressure.
Can Brazil exact some damage? Fred. Cross from Oscar, there's the back heel attempt from Hulk. Just squirming wide.
Well, it's a wonderful run from Hulk to get to the front post. Just away from Cahill, who tried to get close enough, but maybe a little too close. And you can see the look on the face of Joe Hart. He's relieved. Wonderful skill from Oscar. And look at that, it's a close enough challenge. There's no contact whatsoever from Lampard. That one could have been called as a free kick, just outside the box. Very close.
Right on the border of the line, wasn't he? The line counts as the penalty area. And as you rightly say, just outside.
Somehow you get the feeling that that's happened once or twice in training as well.
There's something of a rehearsed nature about the fall of Oscar there.
He's another player that's impressed me immensely throughout the course of this season. Often at times coming out of absolutely nowhere, and his name, his quality, his skill has really shone brightly.
And Chelsea in heavily investing to take him away from Internacional last summer.
A great defending from England. If you look how many red jerseys are in and around the box from England, incredible amount. You just wonder whether fatigue's playing a big part of the formation right now for England. They're not investing many bodies going forward. There's only Wayne Rooney at this moment in time. Everybody else is back in defence.
Luis Gustavo, Bayern Munich man, feeling his way into that Brazil midfield. It's only his fourth appearance. Jones getting back, hitting the wrong side of Neymar to win possession back for England. Now what can they do with it? Neymar committing the foul on Michael Carrick.
Well, that's the immaturity you just mentioned about Neymar taking a thump from Phil Jones, and then not even 5 seconds later goes into the challenge against Michael Carrick like that. He's got to use his composure, keep his cool. He's going to come under a lot of pressure in the European season.
And David Luiz taking a little chop there. It might have been James Milner who fell on the floor. No decision England's way. Here comes Dani Alves for Brazil. Oscar ahead of him, trying to stretch that flank of England's. They're not going to do it like that.
Well, it's what we've come to see from Brazil over the last year. A lot of disappointment from the fans, and particularly you can hear in the stadium. Disappointed with the quality that the home side has produced at the moment. I think that frustration tells a big tale of what we've seen throughout the course of the managerial change in Brazil. The ever-experienced Scolari is bringing that experienced head and vision into this squad. We're still yet to see a good product from Brazil. It's been a while since we've seen that fantastic product we all know and love.
Glenn Johnson, lovely pass. It's Theo Walcott. Julio Cesar makes his first save of the game. 5 minutes before half-time. England almost opening that door.
Well, What an opportunity that was for England. They haven't had many chances in the first 45 minutes, but that was the best chance right there from Theo Walcott.
We had a similar channel opening against the Irish. She forced a save from the goalkeeper, but no more. This time, Julio Cesar reading his intentions perfectly. The last barrier of Brazil's defence, and Walcott couldn't break it down. Well, it's enough to bring both managers to the edge of their technical areas. Alves. It's worked out. The flag has stayed down for Oscar. He's going to have another chance here as well. Fred climbing. Well, he was the man who scored the goal against England in that friendly at Wembley.
Well, it's a hopeful ball. But if you look at Fred, he's up on the back of Johnson. Could have been called for a foul. Well, the referees let it go, and the header going over the top of the crossbar, away from danger with absolute ease. Well, the frustrations are certainly there for everyone to see. You can hear the whistles coming from the fans in the stadium. The quality has been lacking.
Hulk just taking a spell rather deep as Lewis sends it long over the top. Oscar read the bounce well, certainly better than Jagielka. Ball just skipping away from him. Here's Carrick. Lampard taking over. Support from his teammate Ashley Cole. Rooney waiting, so too Louise. Presenting it back to Lampard though. England growing in stature, but opportunity perhaps there for a cross more than a shot from Lampard, certainly making Julio Cesar handle well. Hulk, lovely touch, ambitious and a little risky. Managed to get the nutmeg though, and Brazil scoot clear once again. Neymar made his run, back onside now.
Oh, it's quality defending from Jagielka. You can see Neymar trying to bend his run, keeping himself onside, but Jagielka read the script completely. Great defending. England just finding their way back into this match just before half-time. Some wonderful opportunities, Theo Walcott having the best of them. Really impressed with the formation that England have set up defensively. They've put a lot of bodies back behind the ball. They know they're going to come under a lot of pressure from Brazil today. You just wonder how much the tired legs are playing into the fact of England breaking forward with numbers is lacking.
This is the 6th time that England have played against Brazil in Rio. The record isn't that sparkling, although their one win coming in their most recent trip back in 1984. I did mention it was that 2-0 win. Goals courtesy of Barnes and Haitley. The John Barnes goal, particularly memorable and magical from an England standpoint, left 6 Brazilians flat-footed as he waltzed all the way through into their penalty area around the goalkeeper. Right now it's been a very different kind of performance from England in terms of their expansive play. But 2 openings, one for Walcott, one for Lampard. Both times goalkeeper in the way. Brazil finding that England are trying to batten down the hatches and prevent any further tests coming for Joe Hart, who's had an outstanding first 45 minutes.
Well, absolutely. What we've seen from England has been impressive defensively, formation-wise, and tactically set up well. And Brazil have absolutely dominated the possession of the ball, but been disappointed with what they've shown in the final third. The quality's been lacking from the home side. I expected to see a lot more energy in this match, and we've just failed to see it. A lot of bad passing. I just wonder how much is coming into play that this game has been played at the end of the regular season in Europe. A lot of these players have played an incredible amount of games.
It is a final swan song for these English players before they get the summer off. And this England team has certainly been tested in the first half, but they have not withered under pressure from Brazil's expansive game. And half-time, the scoreline reflects the only other game that England played in Rio when they avoided defeat 36 years ago. A 0-0 draw. We look for our first goal at the new Maracanã, and we'll have